All right, what is good, y'all? Today is September 16, 2025. I took one trade today. It was a W. Yeah, I have no shirt on. Deal with it. It is what it is. Let's get right into it. So my daily buys coming into this morning was pretty neutral because we have an SMT at data lows and London lows. However, we are currently respecting a 1 hour bearish for value gap. I'll most likely wait for 10 a.m. to take a trade. Okay. That did not end up being the case. I ended up trading right before market opens. But here it is, right? We have an unfilled 4 hour right here. Okay. This is what the 4 hour chart looks like. This is what the hourly chart looks like. We had a unfilled hourly gap right here, and then there was another unfilled hourly gap right here as well. Okay, and then here's the 5 minute. This is what the 5 minute looked like. We had data lows. This 4 hour fair value gap was also the same as London lows. Okay, so that was the same area, so on and so forth. There was also a 1 hour fair value gap up here. Okay, so the trade I took, and the reason I took it was because even though we had a London and Asia SMT, this 1 hour fair value gap was my condition. Okay, so I wanted to see how price reacted off of this. Oh, fuck. Okay, and I also built confluences, right? So we had a SMT right here. I believe it was a 5 minute SMT, maybe a 15 minute. So we had a 15-minute SMT. As you guys can see, these 830 highs ended up getting swept out on NASDAQ. And these 830 highs, which are right here, did not end up getting swept out on ES, right? There's nowhere near it. And then on top of that, these 906 highs, right, did not get swept out on NASDAQ. And then these 906 highs got swept out on ES, okay? So we had a double SMT. And then our higher time frame narrative was also this 1 hour for value gap, right? So even though we had a data low SMT, I wanted to see how price reacted off of this. We had a 1 minute for value gap right here, and I was like, okay, if price is just going to chop around and take a million candles to run through it, then I'll just wait till market opens. However, we got this fucking Drake to the downside, creating relatively equal lows right here. So what I wanted to see was, I was like, okay, let's see. I'm set a limit order at the inversion. Hopefully I can get tapped in, stops at the SMT highs, and then take profit down to London lows. This right here can be my break-even point, okay? This low right here. And what ends up happening, mind you, I have my limit order at the 1 minute inversion, right? Next candle, we retrace up. Boom. I get tapped in right here. I almost get stopped out, right? My stop loss was only 4 points anyway, so I wasn't risking much. Great RR on this trade. I got tapped in right here. Almost get stopped out. Next candle, we get another Drake to the downside. I'm now break even at this point. Yes, because I ended up moving my break even to this low right here, this internal low, due to the fact that I don't like being in trades when market open because market open is so fucking volatile. So what I do is if I do trade pre-market and the trade is going towards market open, I'll move my stops to break even. I found a good point to go break even at. Why? Because, well, this low ended up actually taking out these accumulations on lows. So we could have just swept this one more time and then continued higher. Okay. So that's why I wasn't really worried about this wick no more. Anyways, we get this candle. This candle is a market open candle. As you guys see, market opens pretty violent. We open, we edge my take profit. We come all the way back up, fill this 1 minute for value gap, and then we ended up ripping my take profit, which was data lows and London lows. My final TP was at London lows, and we also had relatively lows again with data lows because we had 830 news. Okay, so from here, that was the trade I took, and then I was in my Discord, and I was like, okay, we're most likely going to wait for 10 a.m. to open up, right? Because what do we have? Well, again, we have this hourly for value gap. We have this hourly for value gap. And then we also have this 4 hour for value gap right here, okay? So, let me turn off this shit. Right, so 4 hour for value gap, 1 hour, 1 hour, okay? So what I wanted to see if we truly were bullish on the day, right? Because we had the slight accumulation zone, we kept coming lower, manipulating into these high time frame for value gaps. What I wanted to see was, okay, maybe we have an unfilled gap above us. And what do you know? Yes, we do. We have a 5 minute right here. All right. And what are we doing? Well, where's Asia lows? Because Asia lows plays a part in this. Asia lows are right here. Okay, so I wanted to see price reject off of one of these levels. So we don't end up getting an entry right here. If we ended up coming and tapping into this 1 hour gap and we had like a fair value gap in here, I would have took this entry targeting the unfilled 5 minute, right? Because we're inside of this 15 or this hourly gap. We're inside of this 4 hour gap up here. And we're now inside the discounted 1 hour, okay? So I was like, okay, maybe we continue lower. Where is ES at this point? Oh my god, I fucking hate this shit. Just put this right here. ES is about to take out Asia lows. So I was like, okay, I'm not really going to do anything until we come and take out Asia lows, at least on one of these assets. Because that's where price is drawing to, right? We're clearly in a bearish structure right now. Even though we're inside of multiple high time frame bullish for value gaps, I'm going to be patient, right? So we ended up getting a 1 minute that opened right here, and we didn't end up getting a closure through it to target this unfilled 5 minute. However, it wouldn't have been bad if we did. And then as you guys can see, we get this Drake all the way down. We are still edging Asian lows. ES took out Asian lows. Okay. Now what ends up happening? We end up creating this 2 minute for value gap. Okay. This is no longer relevant. What time are we at? It's now 9:56. Okay. When I see this, I'm like, okay, are we going to close beneath this 4 hour and both of these 1 hour for value gaps? I was like, if so, I'm not gonna take this mech model or gap model up into this 5 minute, which is now going to be a 15 minute as well, right? So we also have a 5 minute, and we have a 5 minute, and we also have a 15 minute. Okay. So it's like, I don't want to take this for a couple reasons. Well, I want to see if 10 a.m. opens high, then we can be like, okay, we open high into this 15 minute for value gap. We can then look for continuation shorts lower. What is our targets lower? Well, we have equilibrium of the range of this entire leg right here. From here to here, we have equilibrium, which is this black line. And we also have an unfilled 1 hour, which is the black line below it. And in the same area is the unfilled 4 hour, okay? So, from here, what do I want to see? I want to see 10 a.m. open, and what are we going to do? Okay, my conditions were then those 4 hour and 1 hour for value gaps. As you guys can see, what ends up happening? We end up running through this for value gap. We end up running through this for value gap, and we end up closing beneath, or we end up inversing this 4 hour for value gap as well. So I'm like, okay, we just inversed all those high time frame for value gaps that I was looking to take longs off to towards these 15 minute, sorry, these unfilled for value gaps, right? These unfilled middle time frame for value gaps. Okay. So from here, I was like, there's not really nothing, right? We don't really have a higher time frame narrative. Why? Because, well, those for value gaps are now invalid. There was this 2 minute inversion I was looking on to get inverted. We came and swept out Asia lows. No SMT was created. Okay. However, that we can still use Asia lows as our high time frame narrative, right? However, it took us a million candles to inverse this 2 minute. So this 2 minute is now invalid. Why? Because I want to see it either if it gets touched 2 or maybe like 3 or 4 times without getting inverse, it no longer means anything. That fair value gap is just irrelevant. So what I want to see is I want to see a cleaner leg down, which we ended up getting. We got a resweep of these lows right here, right? But again, the reason I didn't like this was because now my buy is flipped to bearish. Why? Because we just disrespected those 2 hourly gaps and also that 4 hour gap as well. So yeah, even though we have this 2 minute fucking fair value gap right here that we can go ahead and invert, remember, this one is invalid because it's already been ran through 55 fucking times, okay? There's this 2 minute right here, which I forward tested with the Discord. Some of you guys took it, others didn't. I personally didn't take this, like I said, because I much rather would have just waited for a continuation model down to equilibrium in the other unfilled 1 hour and 4 hour gap, right? So what I wanted to see was price come up into this 15 minute, and then we can reject that and look for, right, a continuation model lower. This 2 minute ended up getting inversed. What do? We then essentially just chop around for the next hour or so, and then if you guys didn't go break even at these internal highs right here, you would have been stopped out. Okay, so that is the reason why this trade is invalid, because we didn't really have a higher time frame narrative. Yes, we came down and took out Asia lows, but what else did the higher time frame do, right? We inversed those hourly gaps. Let me show you guys one more time before moving on, right? We inversed both of these hourly for value gaps, and we also inversed that 4 hour bullish for value gap as well. Okay, so that is indicating that price is flipping bearish. What else did we create? Well, not only did we create, well, no, this was at 10. Just kidding. I was going to say we created an hourly for value gap as well, but we didn't. No, all we had was a 15 minute and 5 minute. So what I wanted to see was I wanted to see price come up, rebalance this leg out into equilibrium. Why? Because these fair value gaps are at or near equilibrium. We didn't end up touching the 15 minute fair value gap nor the 5 minute. So continuation models were invalid. Okay. So that was that trade, and then there was really nothing much to look for. This is live, as you guys can see. We just went sideways. There was someone in the Discord in my live that said they took a 30-second inversion where I drew that black line. Now, where is that black line? Give me 1 second. I'll find it. So it was somewhere in this general area, as you guys can see, 11:02. I'm on the 30-second chart at 11:02 right here. He said 30-second in the live. I don't see a 30-second here. However, what I do see is I see a 1 minute for value gap. However, I don't like this trade due to the fact that price is just completely dog shit as of right now. Yeah, we got this good manipulation move lower, but what are we manipulating into, right? What is our high time frame narrative? We didn't really do anything, right? We have these hourly lows that weren't swept out. Equilibrium was still below us, so I didn't like fading equilibrium. So overall, this wasn't the best of trades, if I'm being completely honest. There was also an unfilled gap right here, so he said he took a 30-second. I don't see a 30-second. As you guys can see, 11:02. There was no 30 seconds in here. So I'm not quite sure. This wasn't the best of trades, and I don't recommend taking this. Why? Because there's no high time frame narrative to the left of us, right? If we're going to take a trade today after inversing an hourly and 4-hour bullish for value gap, at least wait for price to retrace into this now hourly bearish, and then we can continue lower. And if that doesn't happen, then oh well, so be it. We just won't trade today. We'll be back on the charts tomorrow. Okay. So those are the only 3 trades that really, I guess, presented themselves today. That 30-second or 1 minute that I just went over. The 2-minute inversion targeting the unfilled 5-minute and 15-minute, and then the trade I took that was right before pre-market. Okay. So that'll be all for today's video.